Java tutorial. Hi, welcome back to Java tutorials. In this tutorial, you're gonna learn about what is data types in Java. Data types are always associated with the variables. So if you haven't looked my previous video, please check it out. The video link is providing in the description box. Because this is a sequence of learning, data types are like specifies the different size and values that can stored in a variable. So if while you are giving the variable, depends on our business requirement, we are giving the data types here. Means we have to provide the data types. Broadly, you have two data types in Java. One is primitive data type, other one is non-primitive data type. First, let's look into the primitive data types. These 8 data types are primitive data types. We'll see like byte, short, int means integer, long, float, double, boolean, char means character. There are 4 types of non-primitive data types: strings, arrays, classes and interfaces. In the last tutorial, we have seen data types and what are the primitive and non-primitive data types. In this tutorial, you will see some coding examples for primitive data types. Let's declare a variable byte called 20. So we miss the semicolon. It immediately throws the compile time error. Next, if I give b equal to 20,000, it immediately throws compile time error. Because the byte range is very small, so the system suggesting use integer instead of byte. Before going further, let's have the main method first and keep the code over there. Let's print the C value here. Now let's run the code. You can see the C value now. You can see the C value here. So what if I change the type here? Let's see. It still accepts, but the output is giving in float type, means fractional value. So suppose we'll give the again one more integer. Can you see now? Because we gave here as float, it's not accepting now. It's expecting please provide float data type. So now we understand there is a problem here. So give back as a float, then it's okay. Let's run the code and give E here and let's run. You got the output. Suppose boolean my bool equal to true. We print my bool then it prints true here. This is some simple example for boolean. Let's go over for string now. In string we can take the text, but it should be in double quotations. Let's run the code again. You see that now the text is printing. Now let's see the character. Lecture, my lecture equal to suppose D. It prints the D here. What if we give the double quotation? Let's see. Because if you give the double quotation, it automatically thinks as a string. That's why it's throwing the error. When you are dealing with char data types, you should be very careful. Give the single quotations. Let's also declare some float values here. Look here, if you are giving as a 10 whole number for the float, still it understands as 10.00. That's why it's not throwing the error. It is also equivalent to this now. Whatever you are giving, it's understanding. But if you change something here for integer, it throws the compile time error, so you need to change the data type. Now let's do some comparisons. These examples we will see more once we discussed about the topic called operators. Just for time being, I am showing some examples now. We have A and B here, so A is 20 and B is 20,000. It prints the boolean now. A is smaller than B, that's why boolean means true or false. Here A is smaller than B, that's why it's printing false. Please don't confuse here. The first row is came from the data type here and the second one is from the comparison. Hey, welcome back to my Java tutorials. In this video, I will talk about what value each data type holds. Basically, the range of the data type each can accommodate, and also how to check the default values of data types in Java. So far, we already seen what is a data type and what are the types of data types. Just to recall, primitive data types are integer, float, byte, character, double, long, boolean, and short. Suppose we are taking a variable integer data type, it holds 2. If you are taking one more integer data type, if you give like 3 lakhs, it's still fine. If you are taking one more variable of integer data type, here I am taking more decimals. Immediately the compiler throws the error, number is too large. So there is a need to understand what is the range of each data type, right? Without understanding the range, it's hard to allocate the data type here. Now let's see what is the range of integer data type. Int min value equal to integer dot min value. Let's run the code. Now you can see this is the minimum value of integer. This integer is a class name. Java has some already predefined classes where you can utilize directly, depends on our requirement. Integer, math, strings, all these are some examples. This is again data type where this one is name of a variable. If you can change that as m. Just for understanding, I gave the name variable name as min value. This one is just a variable name. That's it. You can also check max value. Save the code and run. You can see this one is min value, this one is max value. For better understanding, I'll say like not only this integer data type, you can check whatever data type you want. Let's try for float. Float min value equals to float is also again already predefined class. These and all methods, the min value, system.out.println, min value of float is min value. Let's also try max value of the float. Float max value equal to float class name dot semicolon system.out.println max value of float is. Let's save the code and run. Now you can see the range of each data type. Depends on that we need to allocate a data type here, not just randomly what we are giving now. There is a specific reason for, there is a specific requirement for selection of the data type. Here we are showing the examples we randomly taking and checking everything. But in real time the situation is not like that. You should be very cautious about selecting. The next topic is about default values. Default values. Here I have taken three variables without initializing any value. First one is int n1 and float f1 and boolean. Now we will see what is the default value of those data types. First of all, I created object for this. This is the object reference. Using that object reference, I called one by one. Default value of n1 equal to obj.n1. Default value of f1 is obj.f1. Default value of boolean is obj.bool. Save the code and run. Here you go. You can see the default values here: integer, float, and the rest of the data types also its default value is 0. Boolean has only two values, right? True or false. So the default value is false. Hey, welcome back to my Java tutorials. In this video, I will talk about what is typecasting and types of typecasting in Java, and also how to convert the character into integer, means Ascii value. So far we already discussed what is the data types, and suppose if you need to change the data types once we already created, in this case we need to understand the what is typecasting in Java. Let me create one variable of integer data type. Let me create one more variable called as float data type. Let's split this n1 and n2. Save the code and run. The first one is printing for integer. The next one is converting to float. So this one is called as typecasting. Here we are converting from integer to float. Suppose if you are converting again, float value to integer, it is not allowing. Look, it is specifically asking please provide the float data type. But in the first stage we already did it, right? But why we are not going back? This is called narrowing. So if you are doing widening, we can easily convert the data type. Widening means widening from smaller data type to large size data type is completely fine. But when you are dealing with narrowing, that is larger data type to a smaller data type, then we will get this error. Widening character, integer, long, float, double. This is fine. When you are doing exactly opposite from double to float, long, int, character, here we have a problem. In this case, you specifically need to write particular data type. Here is again integer. Now it accepts again. Let's run the code now. You can observe. Oops, I forgot to print this one. System.out.println n3. Let's save the code and run again. Now you can see again integer data type. First one is integer, then we again convert it to float, then again convert it to integer. This concept is called as typecasting. In this video, I will talk about one more important concept of converting character to integer value. That one is called as Ascii value or Ascii code. Let's say character ch equals to n. If you print this one character, you will get n. If you want to convert that character into number, that one like ASCII value, in that case we need to do again typecasting, integer ASCII equal to ch. Let's print character and let's also print ASCII. This is the character, this one is ASCII value. Now let's see. 10 is the character and 78 is the ASCII code of for the character. That's all for today tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoy watching my tutorials. See you in my next video. Meanwhile, happy learning and stay tuned.